ToS. Welcome ToS. สวัสดีกระมังกระเช็คตัวซันชันเดลูสต้นปะฮูปะฮูฮายดิซี่
Yeah, I'm in favor of execution. Maybe our entire team needs to be executed after tonight.
Long
What is going on, everybody? Good to see you here tonight on this very, very impromptu stream. This is one I was not planning to have, but as we're getting updates from AnyColor, as we're getting updates in, I want to get that out. And as I've got my birthday stream tomorrow, and then I'm going to be getting on a flight to Japan. So I probably won't have time to stream the next 24, 48 hours after that. I want to make sure I cover these very, very important topics because I'm up, frankly. And if I'm up, I don't care if it's 2 a.m. over here in Asia land. We are going to stream. We're going to do it. We're going to rock it here because I want to make sure I get this information out, make sure my clipper can clip it and get it into bite-sized doses and all that good stuff, guys. And yes, I'm still going to have my birthday stream in 7 hours. We're still doing that. I moved the time up. We're rocking it, baby. I'm kind of switching my sleep schedule a little bit just because my flight tomorrow is kind of later, so I have to kind of stay up because of the time zone weirdness. So I'm staying up a little bit late. But thank you guys and appreciate all the love and the happy birthdays in the chat. How was your day? It was very good. I had some medical appointments to get to, which is great. Good news is my blood work's looking good. I'm healthy, all that good stuff. So that's good. And I had to get a tuxedo made as well because I'm going to be attending a wedding in Deutschland in August. So I am looking forward to seeing my family and hanging out with them in Europe, which is really awesome. Nashman 2K224. Thank you. Welcome as a member for 1 month. Appreciate you for being so based as a member of the RPG. Also shout out to best horse girl Rima. Best horse girl Rima. We're talking behind the scenes. I know she's busy, but it's good to see her. Good to see her. And let's just play for Rima's sake because she's in the thumbnail. We got to play the Rima intro. This is just for Rima.
Thank you very much for all of your lovely art as well. Some of it a little lewd. To those of you drawing me with horses, y'all are into some fucked up shit, and I hope you get the help you need. I really truly hope you get the help you need.
And I appreciate that. Horses in the chat. Horses in the chat. Thank you guys. All right. So we're going to get into 3 topics today, mainly. Number 1, we're going to get into AnyColor and what's going on with the stockholder meeting, as well as their threat of lawsuits and what that means, what people should prepare for. Also, sort of ancillary to that, we're going to get into Michi Mochivi, who talked about working out of fear, right? And unfortunately, the clip that was up got struck because YouTube is striking clippers. It's not because of Niji Sanji. It's because of YouTube and YouTube striking clippers. So let's get that up real quick. But the clip got taken down, but False ID did a video that's up that's got most of the video in there. So I'm going to use like part of False's video, not the entire thing, but part of it, and credit where credit is due to False for, clipping that out and putting it as part of his video. Obviously, he adds a lot of commentary to it and makes it very much fair use. And then we're going to get into Saiyu's kind of closing the door on the Chinese opportunity, which kind of goes along the saying no to bad companies theme. So we'll cover that as well. And that'll be it for tonight. Some big thank yous, guys. Thank you. First of all, Brent Wolf for good birthday sake. I almost feel like I got to go get it. I actually went and got myself some really good birthday sake. So thank you so much for that. It's in my fridge right now. I pre-bought it because I didn't know if I'd have time to go get it. Plus, Thailand, you can only buy alcohol before 11 p.m. Before midnight. So because of that, I had to go early and get that. It's 2 a.m. So if I went in the morning, I wouldn't be able to buy it. Right. So I got that already. But thank you so much. Appreciate that, Brent. Thank you. I'm definitely a sake man. Big sake man. When I'm going to Japan, one of my friends wants me to try umeshu. I'm sometimes a fan of umeshu. If you guys don't know what umeshu is, it's like a plum liqueur, right? You've probably seen it like this. If you've ever seen a bottle that's sort of like this, let me open it up here, with like the plums inside of it, and you've been to Japan or been to a Japanese market or liquor store or whatever else. Oh, hold on. This is a horrible photo. Japanese umeshu. Right. Let me pull this up. It's a very, I would call it acquired taste, right? Some people love it. Some people absolutely hate it. Some plum liqueur I'm a fan of, but some of it doesn't go down as well. You got to it's really case by case for me. But this is umeshu. So I'm going to try some of that when I'm in Japan. I'm going to be around the Nagoya area for a couple days, and then I'm going to be in Osaka with my good friend Meme Copium, and hopefully a couple others can join me. I actually have to shoot out some texts and see if some others can come and hang out. Jin Blades gifted 10 Legal Minds memberships. Thank you so much, Jin. And don't worry. I've got your video here too. And you know what? Because Jin Blades sent me 10 memberships, I think I got to show his video. So Jin Blades is the one behind the Law Man video, which, in case you don't know, it's this video, this 41 second.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Low, man.
You like contracts, right? You're a contract guy.
I read contracts instead of conventional pornography, yes.
That last bit. But yeah, thank you, Jin Blades, for making that. That was really fucking awesome of you. Thank you guys for sending me good reactions to add. Like, for example, somebody sent me the Pippa's feet one, which is so good. It's just, this is perfect.
Oh yeah, that's what I like to see. Oh yeah.
So thank you guys for really putting stuff out there. People said, have I tried Romanian palinka? I have not. I'm willing to try. I've tried a lot of crazy shit, so I'm willing to try. I've eaten scorpions. I've eaten whale. I've done a lot of shit, so I'm willing to try. All right, here. Wildcate says Shondo is back. Yeah, shout out to Shondo. I was gonna cover that on my birthday stream, but I'll do a quick shout out here. Welcome back, Shondo. Good to see people back. She said that one of the problems Twitch had with her was her pouting toggle. Really, if you see that and immediately think sex, it's you that's the problem. Yes. And there's another creator here too. And I want to point this out. I think I dropped it on X. Let me see if I can find it. That was just hit by Twitch during their Pokemon stream. I think it was Soul that was hit by that. Let me see if I can find this. Find this real quick. But Twitch is really, really, really unempathetic towards VTubers. And I think this particular VTuber here, Hara Soul, she got hit on Twitch during a Pokemon stream. Now, I don't think it's because of Pokemon. I think they're trying to say it's something about like underboob or something related to the model, right? Because they're very biased against the models. Twitch is extremely biased against VTubers, and their enforcement is erratic. And frankly, it's usually when somebody comes in and reports them. So yeah, just throwing that out there. YouTube isn't any better. Once again, YouTube has its faults too. All platforms have faults. They just have different faults, right? YouTube is not going to hit you for your model being too spicy unless it's, like straight up nude. But YouTube will punish clippers, right? So YouTube, once again, has its pros. It has its cons. There's good, there's bad. You gotta take the good with the bad. All right. And then said, Gunner said, enjoy some Olympic light heavyweight boxing and weeb law. I was in an izakaya, so I was just eating my favorite izakaya, which is open late. And I was there with my buddy, and we were making fun of the judo people because, like I guess one of the ways they like show they're done is by like keeling over and like going into the fetal position, and the referee breaks them up and sorts them out. But I'm like, okay, if you were in a fight and someone's in the fetal position, you're just gonna kick them in the face, right? And like the waitress just started laughing. It was a good time. Drunken Finn says, watch out for Niji assassins while in Japan. Yeah, I that's why I say my general area, but note how I said the Nagoya area, the Osaka area. I am not giving out my hotel. I am not giving out where I am. I'm not even giving out what the appropriate town that I'm in, because it's not Nagoya proper, right? You're just gonna have to figure it out, Niji assassins. Because I know there are crazy people out there. There are real crazy people out there. And especially when I talk about this, right? It's like, people have a legitimate fear of Niji Sanji because they have made these threats. And what I'm saying is, with a normal company, you would assume that they're saying these things in the best interest of their livers, in the best interest of the VTubers. But this is not a normal company. This is the Barako company. So because of that, we're assuming everything in a light least favorable to Niji Sanji and AnyColor, because they've proven a track record of taking the quote-unquote blackest path. Warranty Void, thank you for 20 legal mindset memberships in honor of Shondo.
Not a sin. I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
Thank you, Warranty Void. Appreciate you, brother. And I thank you guys for really enjoying my VTuber content. Honestly, these topics I love reporting on. I love doing VTuber law and kind of educating on this and, providing some entertainment and education. It's been great. The community is great. You guys are fucking awesome and really supportive about me when I cover these topics. So thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Gunner says, if you get huggy as a boxer, they deduct points. All right. Super based, but thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. Warranty Void, you're an absolute Chad. And or Stacy. All right. So let's get into AnyColor and what they've done here. Sorry. I did have one thing on my locals here, and this is from Xander's Rant, who posted, will you have a mask with your tuxedo? Yes. And I will definitely throw a rose. So thank you for that. Andrew, you won't stick out at all in Japan. No, I totally blend in with the crowd. How would they be able to spot me in Japan? This is a racist assumption, and I am deeply offended by it. Speaking of assumptions, let's talk about AnyColor. So right now, they're going through their investor meeting. Now, most of the information we're getting right now is in Japanese, right? Most of the information right now is in Japanese. But there are obviously Google translations, and obviously if you put things out on Google, you can just run a translation, which is what I did here. Now, these may not be the most accurate, right? This may not be completely put together, and obviously there are going to be documents that are going to be translated in the future. So just understand, right, we'll get an official translation, et cetera, in the future. But there's folks out there that are kind of live tweeting AnyColor. They've gotten to that point. And so because of that, we're getting to see some of this stuff. And I'm just reading through some of this stuff, and it's absolutely crazy. Now, this is just a random comment from it. And we're going to go through and have a separate stream where we break down everything. But I just want to read some of the craziness here. So AnyColor is getting grilled by shareholders. So look at this right here. This is great. This is from a shareholder. And once again, these are largely Japanese shareholders, not Americans. This is what they're asking. As a shareholder, I appreciate that you plan to return 30 billion yen to shareholders in the medium term. I understand you've already completed the buyback of 7.5 billion yen. Was that your intention in completing it so quickly? Compared to the shareholder return of 30 billion over 5 years, the scope for investment in human resources and equipment seems small. Why not allocate such funds to human resources? ladies and gentlemen, the Japanese audience and the Japanese investors are waking up. They're hearing this stuff and they're seeing here, wait a second, you guys have a staffing and equipment issue. Your AR Live looked like a giraffe, right? The long neck, the peak quality, right? Why not invest in technology so your 3D doesn't suck ass? Why not invest in human resources so your people get answers, so they're supported, so they have the type of management that they deserve and they need to function, right? This is a question from a shareholder. So this is pretty damning, honestly. So Riku answers with some corporate bullshit, which is, as the leader in the VTuber industry, we are thinking of investing. So once again, I wonder if this is a translation issue. In the VTuber business first, I think the most important investment should be in studios and human resources. Well, here's the rubber meets the road, little baby Riku. Okay? Riku-san. If you're not spending the money, all your thoughts and prayers and everything else doesn't matter. In fact, if you're not spending the money and you're saying, oh, well, we think that's important, I got news for you. You're just a monkey. Because at the end of the day, if you're not spending the money, all your oh, we think, we feel, it does not matter. It's very simple to hire people. It's not like they don't know how to hire people. They're very well aware of that. Every company is available to do that. The fact that Cover exists just shows how shitty Niji Sanji is running things, just existing. Once again, Cover doesn't have to do much to win other than exist and not be a black company, right? That's pretty much all they got to do. But the point of the matter here, they say, okay, the studio is included in the balance sheet. I think the allocation for personnel will come from operating expenses. Well, okay, but you're just talking about where things are on the balance sheet. If on the balance sheet you have a buyback of 7.5 fucking billion yen, and what did that get them? Guys, that stock buyback, what did that get them? Let's go over here and look real quick. Did I close the tab? Okay, hold on. I'll reopen the tab here. Reopen the tab. Here we go. Look what that buyback got them, guys. Look what that buyback got them. Absolute dog shit. This is when they did the buyback on June 13th. So they went up. Oh my God, we're back up at 2,800 yen. Oh shit, we're all the way back down again to 2,400, 2,500 yen, right? And mind you, we're nowhere near 7,000 yen, almost 6,300 yen that we were years ago. This is the 5-year chart, right? Which is also the kind of max chart for them. It's not looking good. Their graphs, their statistics are looking very bearish, right? They couldn't even get it up for 5 minutes. It's like they popped a Viagra. It literally is a good comparison. Is they popped a Viagra and they were still soft. Okay, that's how bad Niji Sanji is. They can't even get it up with stimulation. It's pretty freaking bad. I mean, for a stock, it's really bad. By the way, smash that like button because we all know, listen, don't pretend you guys are offended by that because I know you guys are just a bunch of
degenerates. You guys degenerates.
I know you got that reference. See, look over here. Over A2B talking from experience. Chinese Viagra. Oh boy. Obligatory what I missed. What's up, Shayna? Good to see you. Gator time. Jokes on Riku. I moved since I bought merch. I've actually moved too since I submitted a totally fake address to the AnyColor application. But yeah, no, guys, fuck, it's crazy. It really is crazy. Also, Gator, I saw you in somebody's video. I forget who it was. Maybe it was like a Nux video. But yeah, shout out Gator. What's up, brother? All right. Quite based. So really, really crazy with the allocations here of money. And it just shows their priorities are misaligned. But here's the important part. Here's what you guys came here for. So here's the one I want to talk about. So this is a talk from them about Niji Sanji En and future overseas expansion. Let's pay attention to this, okay? So I'm going to really zoom in on this one. So they're supposed to be talking about what they're doing because, you know, they've got Cover Corporation to counter. So how are they going to fight back? How are they going to blow up overseas? Riku. In the fourth quarter, we held an AR live show, a 3D broadcast, and Niji Encounter, a music content where pairs of people create and release songs. From what I understand, most of these things were either bombs or kind of flops or just meh. So, okay. AR Live was watched by more people than we expected. Well, how many people did you expect? 0? Of course, we recognize that there were some changes in our trends of our customers. This is an understatement. Some changes in the trends. That's misleading there, Riku. But we see this as an opportunity to reaffirm that there are a certain number of people who will continue to support us. First of all, we would like to work towards those people. So this is what they're saying. So let's break this down from corporate speak. What they're saying is they are going to focus on themselves and their core audience. So, for example, the Niji sisters, the Fujos, right? They're going to focus on them. What they're saying is they don't give a fuck about expanding. They don't give a damn about expanding the market. They care about focusing on the people that are their die-hard fanatics. And what they're going to do is they're going to milk the fanatics. They're going to give more to the fanatics. They're going to more to the Niji sisters, right? That is what they're here for. It's like if this was Disney and saying, okay, we're only going to market to Disney adults. Now, Disney has said that in not so many ways. They've said it indirectly, but Riku is saying this directly here. He's saying, no, we only care about these people because these are our cash cows, without caring about expanding the market. Because yes, the Fujos and the Niji sisters, all that stuff, they'll pay you a bunch of money. But guess what? You know what pays even more money? More customers that are paying, right? More paying customers. So if you got more paying people in, especially in English, you do better. Now let's go here. In addition, in order to rebuild the relationship of trust, we need to continue to strengthen the creation of content such as tournaments and programs that captivate our customers. I like this interesting phrase here. Rebuild the relationship of trust. So acknowledging that this has been damaged. But I don't think this relationship of trust was damaged because they weren't creating tournaments. I don't think the lack of tournaments is any of the legitimate criticisms of Niji Sanji. I think those criticisms are, frankly, how they operate on a corporate level, transparency, some of their corporate practices. It has nothing to do with whether they create content. See, this is a huge misunderstanding. I don't know. Is he just lying, or are sycophants telling him that this is the issue? I don't think it's content that's the issue. In addition, in terms of revenue, we believe that we have customers from various countries, regions, and cultural backgrounds. So we believe we need to implement measures that are different from those we have implemented in sales domestically up to now. Without saying how they're going to do that, without giving a practical plan, without talking about whether they're setting up actual offices in other countries, this means nothing. These are just words. We believe, right? They believe that they're going to give themselves money for a stock buyback, right? Because that's what they're giving money for. This is just lip service. In addition to expanding sales channels and acquiring clients to sell to, we would like to take a slightly different approach than we have used domestically. Okay, so saying you're going to be a little bit different internationally. Now, here's the money shot. Here's the part where you guys come to legal mindset and where we're going to talk about and we're going to focus on for a second. Regarding the slander overseas, we will refrain from disclosing the details of specific cases here, but we are currently working with overseas lawyers to consider countermeasures. In the future, we plan to continue to implement more effective countermeasures, just as we have done in Japan. So let's be very clear. These people, this says a lot. This says a lot. First and foremost, regarding overseas, the first thing they should be considered about legally is whether they're violating international legal law, international law regarding labor law, regarding contracts, which they are. And instead of resolving the fact that they are pretty much operating illegal, unenforceable contracts against overseas employees, they're working on trying to use foreign attorneys to sue, to intimidate, to silence people overseas. Now, I have already seen, and I'm sure you guys have seen some, of these cease and desist letters. Now, I think we saw one with like Raziel, the cease and desist letter, from a U.S. attorney, right? So they're starting, Niji Sanji is already starting in the form of cease and desist letters to with foreign lawyers and sending those out from foreign law firms. They're now going to consider using this abroad. And I've got to tell you guys right now, I am concerned about this because despite some lawyers being good people, there are lawyers out there, even in America and Canada, I know this is shocking, that are absolute 100%
fucking monkey とかさ
will take the money and sue for anything. And they will, even in a case where the law is against them, even in a case where it's unenforceable, they will file complaints, they will file actions, right, that are completely unjustified in the law. And this is something I see and I cover because it sickens me. And I like to expose this stuff on social media because often that's actually the most effective weapon against them. When they're exposed in the light of social media in the public eye, they often back off or back down or their shit is exposed, right? It's actually often more effective to expose them in social media than it is to fight them in court because they're just going to drain you of resources. It's a resource battle. They have millions or billions of dollars, right? You're just a dude or a girl or whatever, and they're suing you, right? And they're trying to drain you of money. So often the best thing to do is to call them out in these practices. I am deeply concerned about this. I do think they will try to silence people. I do think they will try to come after YouTubers. I do think they will try to silence people that are making videos that they consider to be slander under Japanese law. They're going to run up against something called the First Amendment. And somebody, I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody is going to have the backbone to just stand up to them and say, you know what? I'm tired of your bullshit. I'm tired of all this stuff.
Fuck you!
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
And they're going to sue, and they're going to actually pursue it, and Niji's going to get blown out in court. They're eventually going to take a big L on this. And the PR disaster they would get from suing an individual trying to crush them with their legal power would be insane. There will be a lawsuit eventually involving Niji Sanji. Give it enough time. There will be a suit. By the way, lawsuit, I just mean like a joke lawsuit, as in Niji Sanji files a lawsuit that absolutely is garbage under American law. Some lawyer that's just a hack files it. And somebody raises enough money, right? Because they underestimate people's support for their Oshi, right? They underestimate the love of the fans. The fans come out, fund a lawsuit, and blow Niji Sanji out of the water. Right. And not just that, I think there'd be a coalition of the willing to stop the axis of evil, which is mostly Riku, and Riku, and fight them. Right. I think that would happen. Let me get some of these comments here. Utskia says, so AnyColor's non-liver employees are monkeys? No, I don't think all of them. Look, I do think, let me be clear. Niji Sanji obviously has good livers. They have some people that are really cool. There's some Niji Sanji talent that I really like, actually, that I think are funny. Like I watched some of Scarlett's stuff. I actually think she's really funny. And a really good, talent, right? They have good talent there. They probably have great employees, right? But those great employees are under the yoke of Riku and under the yoke of a general culture. And what I can say is the general culture of Niji Sanji, from everything we've seen, all of the evidence that I've seen presents a picture of Niji Sanji of an absolutely nasty corporate culture. And we're going to talk about that when we get into Michi Muchivi, which we're going to review right after this, which supports this negative corporate culture. It's factual. And I see that corporate culture in the contract. You don't write a shitty contract like that if you're a corporation with a healthy corporate culture. If you're a corporation with a healthy corporate culture, you don't need to enslave your employees. You use slavery because you can't persuade somebody without that. Niji Sanji is the new Vanta Black 4.0 monkey. Indeed. Morbius says Niji is stagnated. They need overseas business, but the last year was spent undermining their overseas interests. Executive ineptitude on blast. Indeed. And once again, I've got to call it out because that's the best way to fight this, is to call it out and expose it. Because honestly, guys, I'm telling you right now, winning this in court, yeah, it can be a thing. It could happen. In fact, it would happen if it was brought in the United States. There's a United States case. But that said, exposing them on social media, exposing them in the public eye is very strong. It's extremely strong and extremely powerful. Arabal says, for 5 Euros is visiting Deutschland. Viel Spaß und gut Wetter. Check out Jinja. Ooh, for a German VTuber, especially covers. Awesome. I will check that out for sure. Yeah, I'm going to be in Frankfurt am Main, Köln, Dortmund, and a very small town, which I will not mention because you'll know where I'll be for a wedding. So I'm looking forward to seeing my family, but I'm a little bit scared because it's been a while since I've been back. And the Germany and I've been to Germany, Austria, Switzerland, probably over 30, 35 times in my life. I speak pretty good German. It's kind of sad because the memories I have from like 15 years ago are not the memories I have now that I see the last trips I took. And it's been a while. Last time I went was before COVID. So I am a little bit concerned, but we'll see. Sounds like they plan to file slap lawsuits. Yes. I think they're going to engage in a general legal strategy of silencing free speech. I genuinely believe that. I have a genuine belief that Niji Sanji has zero chill. What they did, even requesting I take down the photo off of Twitter, right, of the AR Live that was circulating. All of this stuff that they have done gives me a indication of their strategy, and it's going to be to engage in activities which are questionable, if not illegal. Hound Villoman says, unfortunately, they are they're $7.50 an hour here too. No. No lawyer they're going to hire in the US is going to be $7.50. That can't happen. That can't happen. I got your second one there. Thank you. Well, okay, so if you get a cease and desist, you can reply with F around and find out. Yeah, by the way, cease and desists are not legal documents. They're not, if they're going to sue you, they're going to sue you and file a complaint. That's an actual legal document. A cease and desist is a request. It's no different if it comes from a lawyer or a person. The only thing is people see the lawyer's letterhead and they take it more seriously. But in terms of enforceability, you can wipe your ass with a cease and desist until they've actually got a judgment against you signed by a judge that says you must do this. You're not obligated to do anything. Also, what's up, professional gentlemen? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, it's a request. A cease and desist is a request, right? Whether it's from a lawyer or a non-lawyer, really doesn't matter. So I am genuinely, I say this like really authentically, I am concerned about this. I really think this has the possibility for them to go after people. I was talking with Rima behind the scenes. It's like, I could see them going after people like False. I could see them going after people that are covering stuff because it's something that's not in a favorable light to them and they consider it slander. And they consider it slander. I can see that happening and them trying to do that. And eventually, when they come after somebody that has the will to fight back in the community to fight back, they're going to be in trouble. Yeah, Lydia's out here. Rather than fix their stupid conduct, they'll attract critics. I guarantee it's going to happen, right? Now, who it will be and when it will be is, we'll see, right? All you know is I'm going to keep a close eye on this because I really do feel like they're going down this road and they may feel cornered. They may feel backed into a corner, right? Because they don't understand, because they don't have a robust understanding of the English market. They may be scared now. And they're reacting like a cornered animal, right? That can't understand human language. Like, because they haven't taken the time to try to become human, to try to learn, to try to be anything other than a corporate monster. They only know one path. They only know one way of acting, and that's the way they're going to continue with, which is really, really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. And let me pull up this clip. Now, this is from False's video. I'm using his, and so he's going to have a little commentary here at some points, which is relatively short. But there's about 16 minutes of this that I want to review, which is Michibo Chibi talking about her interactions in Nijisanji and working out of fear. And this is really important, I think, going along with what I'm talking about for their strategy. Because once again, a company which builds a corporate climate of fear is going to use a legal strategy of fear and intimidation. Real quick here, Muzzy Skeleton says Elon versus Niji when? Oh, that'll be a good one. Zint25 says the court accept Niji can suck my as a proper legal filing. I'm gonna say that as a legal filing is
Not a sin. I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
I'm gonna allow it. Will Z says they can start videos with legal disclaimers. Sure, but once again, even a disclaimer isn't going to protect you. You can put all the disclaimers in the world and Niji can still sue you, right? They may lose their lawsuit, but what people have to understand is you can file a lawsuit for any reason. Even frivolous lawsuits can be filed. And you can be punished for filing a frivolous lawsuit if you fight back against the person who filed that lawsuit. If you roll over and you settle or whatever, take a plea deal, whatever it is, well, they've won. And what I think Niji is going to do is it's going to use its money to try and bully people into submission. They're going to try to use fear and bullying to shut people up. They've seen what's happened on social media and they're really, really scared.
Before. So, I had 2 breaking points, to be honest.
So she's talking about her breaking points at Nijisanji.
So my first breaking point, not like breaking point, but this was what kind of shook my, it made me what? Is this worth? You know what I mean? It kind of made me doubt my belief system. However, there are 2 instances that really got me a bit shaken up. The second one, the thing that broke the camel's back was definitely the money thing. Yes.
Well, sorry. While this loads, money is typically the biggest issue with any partnership or any disagreement. Most people are unhappy about money. So if you can solve the money side and make the money side a non-issue for whatever business arrangement you have, that's kind of like the key term. Everything else is ancillary to just paying people correctly and making people think they're fairly compensated.
I'm a very big business is business no matter what.
Yes, and yes, I know she doesn't say Nijisanji, but it's a very safe assumption, okay? It's a very safe assumption here. Clear assumption.
I won't fuck with your cash. Don't fuck with mine. Once upon a time, I dreamt that I was traveling, right? I was traveling and I decided to visit the place that I worked for. Yes, in my dream. Let's not say let's just say Bethany, okay? Once upon a time, a girl named Bethany was traveling and Bethany decided to visit a build-in office in which Bethany was working for. And during that visit,
she's referring to herself as Bethany here, by the way.
Bethany was a very excited, because this is where Bethany is working. So Bethany was very excited. And then as they were giving like the tour and etc., Bethany saw that on the walls there were a bunch of cool achievements.
So YouTube play buttons. I'm going to translate here. YouTube play buttons. Okay. You saw the YouTube play buttons. Okay.
One of them had Bethany's name on it.
It was her YouTube play button for her channel. Now, to be clear, for her channel. And from a legal standpoint, let me be very clear about this. Because the way the contracts are written, legally, it is, and I'm just being honest with you about the law and the way it works. Once again, I whether it hurts your feelings or helps your feelings, whether it's right or wrong, it's how it works. Legally, yes, Niji Sanji is the owner of that play button. They own the channel, they own the IP. She's the pilot, right? That's it. So at that point, yes, they do have legal ownership over that. Now, whether that is a moral thing, right? We went through the contract and a lot of the contract, is illegal, whatever else, but that specifically, yeah, that is legal and you can have it set up that way, right? And yes, I know people say that she never signed the contract, which is very, very interesting. But from an IP standpoint, because they do own the IP, they do own the channel, right? They would have, even in the absence of the contract, they would have a strong argument that the play button is there because they control the channel, right? Ultimately. And she's just the person they're having operate that channel. Now, whether that's moral is a separate question. I would say, yeah, that's pretty immoral, right? Especially when you consider that other corporations allow their creators to have those play buttons to celebrate their milestones, which is what they're supposed to be, which is what they're intended to be for, right?
And Bethany wanted to take a picture, but no can do. That's okay. That's okay. Bethany understood. Sometimes privacy is a very big thing. And Bethany is a very private person. So Bethany did not take mind into that. But then during...
But yes, obviously, you if you go and you take a selfie and you like dox yourself with your play button, that could be an issue, right? But why would there be an issue of you taking a picture of solely your play button without your face in it, right? Or if your hand is in it? Why is that an issue? That's a fuck up. And to me, that's just SDE or SRE, small Riku energy, right? Small Riku energy. Speaking of big energy, though, Mazrova Palma for 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much, Mazrova Palma. Absolutely 100%.
Hello! Beso de pato, man!
Thank you for those gifts. Also, a big 20 from Patrick Elza, who says, I fear Riku will start to come after former talent for telling these stories. Yeah, and I'm worried for her too. Like, I'm worried about Mint. I'm worried about Michi and them coming after them and saying, okay, well, you're slandering us, right? Which, by the way, they should have every right to say this. And if they did come after that, you better believe I would be like a dog on a bone going after these folks. But also, good luck coming to Indonesia for Michi or coming to the U.S. I think Palm was in the U.S. Like, good luck with that and actually prevailing. They would not. They would not. Also, Gritter with the Claude quote here, we could just ask, but whatever, man. No, they could not. Complete bullshit. That was a complete bullshit story that you can just ask and they'll give it to you. That's not true. Nobody has been posted with it just after they asked and just they give it to them. No, that's not a thing in Niji Sanji. Period. One dickhead with the 10. Thank you. One dickhead. Appreciate you. Thank you for being so based. Shout out to all my members, people supporting. Thank you so much. Appreciate that you help me do this on a regular basis and help me bring stuff like good emojis to the chat. Let's continue playing.
This time.
Also, real quick, Arabai says, can't you order a second play button from Google? Yes, but the second play button would be sent to Niji Sanji. It would not be sent to Michi. So if they're not giving away one, they're not going to give away two. They'll just give Riku one for his like personal yacht, and then they'll put one in the office. But they're not going to give it to the talent. They don't give a fuck about them. Bajoran says, didn't Japan sign a human rights agreement? Look, a lot of this stuff is very questionable from an international legal sense, but a lot of it's unregulated. Also, last Steven said for 99, if Niji admitted that they fucked up from the beginning and took action to be a better company in talents, then we would not be where we are right now. They're such cowards. Yes, I would not be having this conversation if they just admitted, hey, we screwed up. Hey, we made a mistake. Hey, we're understaffed. Hey, we don't understand the Japanese market, or sorry, the English market. We're Japanese. It's a huge cultural misunderstanding. We come from a different cultural climate. And they said that, I would have backed off on this. I wouldn't be covering this. But instead, they've doubled and tripled down. And now they're promising to sue people overseas. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere on this topic. And I am going to stay on top of these guys because this is concerning. Let's continue.
He made a joke about jokingly being like, you know, the hand gesture where you like, oh, shh, yoink. You know what I mean? So Bethany made a joke being like, ooh, shh, yoink, like that. And like laughing about it. And then Bethany got scolded.
See, okay. Well, one thing I will say here is real quick is that, okay, from a cultural standpoint, I will say not all cultures receive sarcasm and jokes the same way. So like, I can see how people might take that very seriously in a more conservative Japanese company, right? But that said, scolding her off the bat is probably not the best way to go, rather than just politely saying, hey, you know, maybe we don't joke about that or something like that, right? I get that. Look, like sometimes I will say, look, for example, if you are speaking in a foreign language or trying to speak in a foreign language and you don't have a mastery, you're not native speaker or like high fluency level, do not try to be sarcastic. Right? That's just a general rule in all cultures, right? So like in Spanish, if you're not fluent in Spanish, don't try to be sarcastic or make a joke, because the way you think you would make a joke in English is not how you make a joke here, right? Like, for example, you know, if I was to use the phrase, you're trouble, right? Like in the US, that can be used in a playful sense. Like, oh, you're trouble. Like, you're big trouble, right? And you can kind of laugh about it and smile about it. And it's kind of a lighthearted thing. But when you say that, like, for example, if I translate that into Korean or Japanese, everyone's like, oh my God, what's wrong? Because they don't use the word in the same playful sense. There's no banter about it, right? You can't just assume it's a one-to-one in the same way, because what you use for that, they probably have a different way to express that. So just understand, jokes can work vastly differently. Be very, very careful with that. And look, let me be clear. I fucked that up. I've definitely fucked that up, right? I apologize for it afterwards. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to say that, right? Like, for example, I'll give you one today. I'm in an office and this girl, she walks in and in English, she asks, oh, have you eaten yet? And she brings me a glass of water because I'm at a medical exam. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, well, wait a second. I took my blood test yesterday. So I had to fast yesterday, but today I'm here to hear the results. Why are you asking me to eat? And I like was kind of incredulous. I'm like, why are you asking me if I ate? Like, what are you doing? Like, I was kind of like, and then I realized, because I was just kind of out of it. I was like, oh, she's asking me in English the same way she would ask me in Thai, because in Thai, asking, oh, have you eaten yet is like, how are you? Right? It's like, are you okay? Right? It's normal. But because she translated to English, it didn't work. And so she's laughing about it. I'm laughing about it. I'm like, hey, sorry, my pen rise. Sorry about that. You know, like, sorry about this cultural misunderstanding. But things like that happen when you're translating stuff across languages, right? It's a Korean thing too. They also ask, like, have you eaten yet? Right? Very, very common mistake. Utseka says, where's the coffin and the shovel? If I think AnyColor made it in him. Yep. Akili Watterson says, as an Indonesian for 5,000 Indonesian, if Niji has a branch company in Indonesia, they can sue Michi with something called UUITE. It's the Indonesian law. I don't know. I'm just too personal. No, but that's what I'm afraid of. What I'm afraid of is they start suing people in different countries, and they are trying to bury them in money. Because the Japanese lawyers don't understand how to sue, but they might pay some 2-bit unethical Saul Goodman, to go and sue. Charlie says, Mitchie is super sweet. She remembered me from her time as Mika, even when I had a different name and everything, just from how she remembered I had an eye patch. She was like, guys, I know this chatter. Awesome. Direwolf said, yeah, it's a power game. The cover office or the phase office, no doubt, has a copy of all the play buttons. But they also made sure the talent's got a copy as well because, hey, basic human decency. Is it so fucking hard? Forum Gita says, a corpo can't go after an ex-talent for vaguely mentioning them. Can it? Yes, they can. They can say that this is presumptively us. And, for example, in her case, can say, well, we're the only other people she's worked for. So she's clearly talking about us. Now, I think they're stupid enough that they may not get what she's talking about here because they're just a bunch of, AnyColor's just run. It's run by a bunch. Also, I think they do know that Michi is big enough and with Vishojo. So Vishojo would have an incentive to defend their talent. So I don't think they sue Michi. I think they sue an indie. Because if I was Vishojo and I had Niji Sanji, a rival company, suing my talent, I'm going to defend my talent. Just because you do not want them to be coming for your people. And you want to show your people they're safe. Right? So Niji versus Vishojo would be a great trial. Oh, I would love that. I would fucking love that. Oh, by the way, I love the smug face. I really like the smug face. Like the chibi smug face. It's really cool. Let's see here. In Frostbite says, imagine Easy's tax issue coming out. Oh, that'd be great. That would be great. Also, real quick, Wildcade says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but racism is rampant in Japan, and whenever Michi being from Indo played into Niji's response. Maybe. I mean, frankly, I think they treat a lot of their foreign talents this way because of the perception of gaijin. And people in the US don't understand a lot of the Asian perceptions, not just towards foreigners in general, which can often be, outside versus inside. You're outside, we're inside. And that can be completely legal under their respective legal codes, but also like the deep-seated regional racism, which exists within East and Southeast Asia. Monkey Bacon said monkey. I'll get the rest of the super chats in a bit. I see 3 of them, but let's continue.
For making a distasteful joke. Now, was Bethany right? No. Perhaps that is a bad joke, but considering Bethany was working in the entertainment industry, Bethany thought people would take jokes easily and not have people think that Bethany was actually a thief. And a little bit, that made Bethany feel pretty bad. Because it made Bethany feel like, wait a minute, did they really think that Bethany would steal? What kind of person do you think Bethany is? And you know what? Bethany had an ego. 100%.
That's not an ego. Like, that's them calling you a thief, right? Like, anybody would be offended. It's very normal. It's very human. If someone calls you a criminal or says you're a thief, right? Like, that is, that's something you should be offended about. Because unless you are a thief and you're proud to be a thief, in which case, okay, cool, cat burglar or cat woman or whatever you are, cat thing, right? That's fine if you're proud to be a thief, but most people would be offended by that. It's very reasonable to be offended by that. And I don't think that's an ego. I think that's just being a human being. So, I mean, I think she was right to be offended by that. She should have been offended by that. And she should have taken offense to that. She's like, I'm your employee. Why would you speak to me like that? But that is indicative of how they treat their employees, like slaves, like gutter trash. Oh, also, hi, Mujin. I saw your video today. It was really good.
Bethany's not completely in the right, but it did kind of hurt Bethany's ego just a little bit, where Bethany realized, what kind of person do you think I am? Like, why are you for real scolding Bethany, right? For making what is clearly a joke. Did you take it seriously? Did you really think Bethany would do that? And the scolded was, we will kick you out of the building, scold.
Yep, definitely.
That hurt Bethany's feelings. That sucked. That sucked. And I was like,
and like threatening to kick her out of the building. Like, why the fuck are you going to threaten to kick her out of the building? Right. It's and appreciate that. Creator on creator love. Thank you. Good videos. There's always room for like long form videos and short form videos. So there's an ecosystem for everybody out there on YouTube, guys. A lot of room for good content. That said, threatening to kick her out of the building, to trespass her. In the US, we call that crime trespass, right? So saying you must leave the property. They're threatening to trespass an employee. You know how many times I've trespassed employee? I was at a Fortune 500 company, right? Which did hotels and timeshares. You know how many times we trespass people? When we would trespass people? When they threatened to kill somebody, right? Or hurt somebody, or create, some sort of property damage. You don't trespass somebody over trifling ass shit. I joked about taking this thing, which is a clear joke, right? It's not why you trespass somebody. Wild overreaction.
Interesting, Bethany said.
I like somebody in the chat was like, back to the re-education facilities. Oof.
And Bethany was like, that's a joke. And then they're like, I get it, but you got to understand, I can't have that happen here. And Bethany said, okay, I'm sorry. I understand. I went too far. But deep down Bethany's heart, they're like, what the what the is that? Am I not allowed to just pretend yoink? Bethany's like, am I not? I'm not. Bethany not only is not allowed to just take a picture of Bethany's own stuff, Bethany can't even joke about it. And that made Bethany feel very, very weird, because Bethany was like, damn, that's weird. And then the straw that broke the camel's back.
I like that. Justice for Bethany in the chat. Justice for Bethany with the Pepes. That it makes you feel like you're not part of a team because you're being rejected. You're being told like, hey, you're doing something abnormal, weird, versus just making a fucking joke. You know what people do to bond as humans? We make jokes. Like, that's why we have memes in the chat. That's why I got reactions here in the chat. Like, goddamn. Like, I hold on.
Yeah, right. Explain this to me like I'm retarded.
That won't be that hard.
If you were just human, Niji Sanji, if you just exercise what we call empathy for people that are working for you instead of absolute fear and tyranny, maybe things would work out differently, right? If you use the E word, I know it's crazy. Having a little bit of empathy, right?
The money thing. So all of that altogether kind of was Bethany's tipping point. So Bethany kept it to herself. Bethany did end up confronting them, and they did end up apologizing. And you know what? Bethany forgave them.
You know why? You know why they probably apologize? Because they're not used to being confronted. See, that's the other thing. They're not used to being confronted. So in Japanese corporate culture, that shit never happens. So they're actually spineless worms. When you stand up to them directly, they back down, but like they have a little bit of puff, right, in the beginning, because they're not used to people, standing up and pushing back. That's just not part of their typical corporate culture.
Bethany forgave them because Bethany told them, they were like, hey man, listen.
Yes, Chad
I
Bethany.
was joking, right? And you took it so fucking seriously. And that hurt my ego. I'll be 100% with you. And they apologized. And Bethany forgave them. But Bethany never forgets.
Yes. Forgive, but do not forget. And listen, boys, we ain't forgetting here on the Legal Mindset.
Bethany will never, ever forget that.
Michi then speaking firsthand about how Asian companies...
Once again, this is False's video, so he's doing a little bit of narration here, but shout out to False for clipping this because the original clipper was taken down.
You replacing people.
The people that don't do well don't get much. And I did pretty well, and I don't get much. VShojo is way too supportive. Like, VShojo is so supportive. I realize this when people hear, like,
Bro, this is bad right now. Like, they're in an investor meeting right now, and they're like, Riku-sama, how are you stacking up against other people, other corporations? And literally play this clip. Translates this shit into Nihongo and play it at the investor meeting. When somebody is straight up saying that VShojo is so much better than you in a one-to-one comparison, that is bad, right? Real bad.
You're not replaceable. Hooray! That's sad to say, Chad. A lot of Asian companies kind of do that. You know, like they don't tell you that, but they make it clear that they can do things without, like with or without you. And if you
This is what I talked about. Now, this is part of Asian corporate culture that is really difficult to deal with. And look, part of me, like there's a part of me that's like, if you don't want this, don't work for that company. But there's part of this which is okay, these companies are recruiting people abroad actively that have no idea about Japanese corporate culture. If you're a Japanese wage slave, you know about this. In fact, I deal with a lot of Japanese corporate individuals who are here on business when I'm in Thailand, right? They're here and they're like, oh my God, I wish I could be working for myself. I wish I could escape the Japanese corporate grind. It's absolutely horrible. I had somebody here and they were telling me, oh my God, my kohai is a retard, right? It was like, absolutely, like cannot get anything done. You know, I can't do anything. My boss is incompetent, et cetera, et cetera. I'm the only one who speaks good English, and our business is about dealing with people in English, which is like mind boggling. It's crazy, right? And once again, the corporate culture in Asian countries, particularly China, Korea, and Japan, can be very, very tough. It's not made for the weak, right? But a lot of people don't know that going in because these are VTubers recruited from English-speaking countries where we don't accept these sort of things. Where other countries where that's not the corporate culture, even in Indonesia, right? The corporate culture isn't the same as Japanese corporate culture. Now, I am not Indonesian. I'm not deeply familiar with the Indonesian corporate culture, right? But I can just say that generally from interacting with folks that I know in general industry in Southeast Asia, right? There's a different culture than Northeast Asia, right? Yeah, not made for the weak. Not made for
you leave, or if you don't take up the opportunity, someone else will.
Michi going on further to talk about Asian contracts and their demands.
Oh, I love me some Asian contracts, baby.
Her experience.
This is Asian company contract experience, okay? You get 15 pages. 13 pages are talking about all the things you cannot do. The next page is talking about what they are going to do if you accidentally break any of their 3 gajillion bajillion clauses. And the last page is just a recap. In VShojo, when I got my contract, they forced me to get my own lawyer to read through my contracts. They were like,
that is so healthy. That is so fair. And look at the night and day. VShojo saying, hey, here, go get a lawyer to look through this. Versus Niji Sanji, who literally is giving people 3 hours to read a contract signing away their soul. They're like, we're buying your soul for $1. You have 1 hour to respond. Pray we don't change the deal again. Like that's Niji Sanji, right? They're doing like a Darth Vader deal here. Right? Versus them, we're like, no, get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer. You need to understand this. You need to read this. It needs to be impartial.
we're not going to accept you like signing to our contract without, like, if you have not seek advice from your own lawyer, we're not going to accept it. And I was sitting there and I was like, bro, I'm going to be real with you. Like, I don't want my position to go to someone else. Because in Asia, chat, if you're in a job interview and then they give you a contract, you sign it. If you don't sign it on the dot, you don't get it.
Michi describe.
This is generally true. You don't have a lot of good negotiating power. It's like, yeah, you sign this or you're not getting the job. That is generally true.
Having her working at the previous company as working out of fear.
Like, I didn't hate working, don't get me wrong, but most of the time I worked because I was really scared. Like, no, I worked out of fear. You know what I mean? Like, you know when you're like working.
Hold on one second. This pause.
Because you're passionate, or working because of money. I worked because I was so scared that I was scared of the things that may happen, I guess.
Michi, speaking of a time.
That is fucked. Guys, like, I'm sorry, real quick. That's fucking wrong. right? That's the sign of slavery, right? When you are working because you are fearful of the ramifications of the contract. That's like what happened with VNU, where VNU was threatening alien renders, right? With $500,000 in damages, right? It's slavery. And they'll try to do that to you. I've had experience outside, I told you, outside of this, dealing with when I was in Korea, helping people with English contracts, right? Where there were all sorts, were these hagwons, English schools, that had all sorts of contract clauses that were absolutely abhorrent. And I was like telling these people, you don't need to worry about this. Alien Mixture. Thank you, Alien Mixture. Thank you. Thank you, Gator. I was saying, look, there's no way they're going to enforce you in America, right? They're not going to come to America and arrest you and throw you into jail. But some of these contracts said they would pursue you criminally. They said that in the contract, which was completely illegal. But they tried to scare you, right? And you're right, it does come. People say it in the chat. Some said culture comes from a region where lives are abundant or labor is abundant, right? So thinking, oh, labor is pretty much free. Silbury says, Kumin Kana, eat something in Filipino. We do it too. I caught myself saying it to nephews when I was 22 and I swear to never do it again. Yeah, it happens. It happens. It's a funny thing. I laughed about it. We laughed about it, right? And the nurse was cute, so I was happy to laugh with her. EDMG says, Henya keeps telling her chat that her mom asks her if she's eaten rather than saying, I love you. Yeah. And that's just welcome to Asia. Oliver Closeoff says, Niji could have been any color they wanted to be, but they chose black. Also, support law and crime, fund of the channel. Fuck you, Oliver Closeoff. And down with law and crime. Matthew Urzula says, Vishojo steps in to prevent future attempts. That would be great if they stepped in to stop them if they try to come for Michi. Also, S66 Seeker with 1 Legal Mindset membership. Thank you for the gift. Appreciate that. Also, Charlie Spurs said, you sign now, no time. That's definitely what they do. Also, Chiharu Mori says, happy birthday, sir. I hope they FAFO with you. Yeah, dude, if they fuck with me, I will make it into their worst nightmare, and I will be floating on $1 million if they were trying to come after me. It'd be great. I'd be doing a podcast tour. I'd be on fucking Joe Rogan talking about it. It'd be great. It'd be great. I would love it. Please come for me. I will profit off of that so greatly. Let me grift off that, baby. Come on, baby.
In my dream. And they said, like, some stuff might have been worse, right? Like, things might have been worse, but, like, okay, here's the context. The full context was I let out all my feelings. I was like, hey, man, it feels like I'm working this hard for nothing. Like, I worked so hard, and I'm at the position where I am. Why does it feel like nothing's changed? And they're like, no, Michi, you don't get it. Like, I don't think anything can change, but you are the reason things are afloat. Like, things could have been worse, but because of you, things aren't as bad. In a group of so many people, chat, there's bound to be clashes, right? Like, imagine having a friend group of like 20 people. Someone is not gonna like someone else, and that's fine. And like, imagine if there's like, I don't know, more than 100 people. Someone might not like someone else. That's like very common, And I totally understand where they're coming from, because there was a point where there were some people that didn't quite like me, right?
And that's fine. It's not illegal to not like somebody. The problem is when you treat somebody discriminately, or you are treating them in a way that is not allowing them to do their job and perform their job functions.
Because of anything. Like, it's very understandable, because I was so, like, MIA. Like, I was gone. I rarely talk to my friends. I rarely talk to my coworkers. I rarely respond. If let's say someone's like, hey, we have this thing going on, I can't. I'll be like, I can't join this right now because I have another collab, or like, oh, I can't join this right now because I have another event to sort out. There were so many times I couldn't join some stuff. When I can, I always do, but it's so rare. And I will admit it, it's my fault. Like, I did not put in the effort to maintain a relationship, right? And because of that, some people had this assumption that I was very like stuck up my ass. You know what I mean? Like I was very like, oh, I'm sorry, you are a smaller streamer and I am now a bigger streamer, and because of that, we can't interact.
Yeah, I mean, this is fitting every box of the clique theory, right? Of the in-group, out-group theory. It's fitting it to a T. And by the way, if you think you're a better human being than somebody else because you have like 500,000 or 100,000 or 500,000 or 1 million more subs than they do, I just want to say something. I'll use the Elon one for this, right?
But go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob.
So yeah, that's my thing. If you think you're better than somebody because you've got a little bit of more social media clout than they do, you're a piece of shit. Like you're just a bad human being, right? Doesn't make you better than anybody else, especially on from a superiority standpoint, right? You're not a person that's more or less worthy of somebody hanging out with you or whatever else, right? Yeah, I should change it to hi Riku at the end. But yes. It's a great clip. Let's continue here.
And I completely understand why people have that mentality of me because of what I did. But it's just like, at that point, I didn't even have the energy to clear my name. Like, I didn't have the energy to be like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I can't, like, it's not that I hate you. It's not that I look down on you. I have to maintain a certain, like, I have to earn enough and I have to work enough so then people still see us as valuable. Like, I felt really alone for a bit. I can't even show my coworkers proof because I'd be breaking my own contract. So it's like,
that's true, because you can't really say anything to any of them, right? In fact, your own contract kind of limits you from talking to anybody, including your own coworkers, right? The only thing it incentivizes you to do with your coworkers is fight, because Niji Sanji says if you fight with them, they're going to stay out of it. The only thing it does is incentivize you to fight. That's the only thing that contract did when we went through it. This is just great. It's horrible, by the way. It's horrible, but it's like, it's fitting every single narrative we've heard.
I remember there was a time I did get confronted by one of my friends. They were like, hey, man, I have to be honest. This is how I feel. And I couldn't say anything but sorry. I was like, I'm sorry. And they're like, do you have anything to say? I was like, I can't. Like, you don't get it. I can't say anything. All I can say is sorry. Like, you are so valid. If I were you, I'd feel the same. But I swear to God, like, I care about you. I really do. I care about everyone. I didn't really, like, get much. You know? Like, I get, like,
and it's
scolded, but I didn't get, like,
it's sad she was not able to have a good relationship with her coworkers, because, you know, that's one of the best relationships you can have is with a coworker. You can build a lot of camaraderie, right? It can be one of the best experiences of your life, or it can be an absolute nightmare. You can learn something, or you can be tortured. And I've been in both situations. And let me tell you, when you're in a situation like this, it freaking sucks to feel like you can't interact and feel like you're barred from that, feeling like you are prohibited from interacting with anybody else. Absolutely horrible.
Many opportunities, if that makes sense, right? And I was scared that if I didn't do well, then the chances, like, you know that meme of like someone digging and then the person next to them is like they stopped and they're so close to getting a diamond? That's how I felt like constantly. Like every day I'm like, oh, I'm so close. They'll notice me now, surely. Oh, okay, no. Tomorrow, they'll notice me now, surely. Like, that was what I was.
And this is something I'm sure that Selen learned as well. They never notice you, right? No matter how well you do, no matter how well you perform, Senpai never notices you, at least when it's Niji Sanji, right? Because you're either in or you're out, right? And it doesn't really matter whether you're doing well objectively. Selen was winning awards, right? That wasn't good enough for Niji Sanji, right? Because not on the inside. Also, hi, Rima.
my mentality. I've always like every time I work, I'm like, I'm so close. They're gonna notice me now. They have to notice me now. No.
I think she's talking about her Niji friends, Rima. I think she's talking about her Niji friends. Answering the question, she's talking about IRL. And I think that it's one and the same.
Now they notice me. Like that's what I was doing. So it did kind of like wear me off. Like I'll be honest with you, I am burnt out, but not from content. I never really had a bad like impression about it, but because I was working so much, I didn't really get to spend any time with like my coworkers or my friends. I didn't really get to like talk with them or chill with them because at that time, I feel like maybe it's because I was new or something. I was still like deep. I was like deep in the like, I'm so close, or like, I'm so close. I'm gonna get noticed now. Oh, like I remembered. I was like, I did a good thing. But I even told them, like, I'm not usually the type of person that be like, hey guys, guess what happened? I got 100K today. Huzzah! Like 100K subscribers. Wow.
Speaking of which, boys and girls, we just hit 155. So shout out to you guys. We've also got 1,200 people watching. So smash that like button because I am the type of guy that celebrates my accomplishments with you because you guys made it possible. So thank you for getting me to 155K. Thank you guys on that road to 200 and maybe a 2D model. Who knows?
Like, I'm not that kind of person, but on that day, I remembered I did that. I was like, guys, I got 100K. And in my head, I was like, surely something's going to happen, right? Surely. And then nothing happened. I was like, oh, maybe if I reach 500K, maybe if I get 150 and then 150 rolls around, nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe 200, maybe 500. And then I just gave up. Like,
They will never acknowledge you. See what I mean? Like, you can keep trying, like, oh, they're going to notice me at 100. They're going to notice me at 200. They're going to notice me at 500. They're going to notice me at 1,000,000. And they're still morally bankrupt pieces of shit who, once again, maybe looking down at her prospectively, I mean, once again, the theory that they're looking down on her because she's Indonesian, because she's foreign. If you've been to East Asia, not a completely invalid theory, right?
Was working so much.
Michi going on to talk about her managers with the previous company until, quote, the Fire Nation attacked.
If Michi says they're nice.
And yes, Ben, is morally bankrupt piece of shit a legal term? Yes, it indeed is. It is.
The thing, when I say they're nice, I'm talking about like in my dream, hypothetically, my managers, right? I don't want this to get twisted at all. So I'm going to make this as clear as possible while also avoiding a potential lawsuit.
I love it. I'm going to make this clear and avoid a lawsuit. Although, like I said, they could sue you for like whatever reason. Whether or not that lawsuit works or not is another question, but they could like sue you. So like you don't necessarily avoid the lawsuit. You just might avoid like making it stick or like bringing their ire down upon you. But like it's pretty obvious who she's talking about. Like it's clear. There's no other alternative for this here.
In my dream, hypothetically, once upon a time that my fish who had a pet fish, who had a neighbor, who had a cousin, who fell and had a coma, who had a dream. In this hypothetical...
By the way, this is too much. Okay, this is like the ultimate in Minecraft. Like she's doing my cousin who fell and had a dream of a friend who was in a friend who was also in a dream. Like, it's like, okay, yeah, but like, that's still not going to get you out of... If the underlying story is something that can be attributed to Niji Sanji, then yeah, they're gonna come after Bethany for her cousin's dream.
Scenario, their manager are very nice, right? And then the Fire Nation attacked. Once upon a time, the world lived in harmony.
The Fire Nation.
The managers were very nice. And then the Fire Nation attacked. And
who is the Fire Nation? Who is the Fire Nation? Huh? We have questions.
Fire Nation managers. Woof. Now that's a different topic for a different day.
Well, I want to hear that topic. I really want to hear that topic. The merger? It's the Chinese managers? straight out of Beijing?
Okay, in my dream, it's not to my manager, nor is it to my coworkers. In my dream, it's towards the dungeon master. You know what I mean?
Dungeon
That's
master?
my personal.
The
okay,
DM.
My personal.
Well, the DM is responsible for the dungeon. So if the dungeon master is the one in charge, then perhaps that sounds like these shenanigans might be going on a certain yacht or in a certain McLaren, which my agents saw in front of the building. Perhaps DM Tazuki, perhaps, mayhaps.
A lot of Bethany, a lot of my dream Bethany story. None of the anger or disappointment is ever because of like their managers or their coworkers. It's to the GM. It's to the big guy. All the way up.
Michi going on further to talk about returning hardware to the
Sorry, real quick. Don was like, Dungeon Master is what they used to call Andrew in Korea.
previous company, as she was led to believe was required of her.
Here's the thing. Bethany may be an asshole, and Bethany may be stupid, but Bethany will never keep something that does not belong to Bethany. So
and remember, this is the same girl that they accused of being a thief. So listen to this story, because I'm going to tell you how much this probably cost her. Because she talks about the time. She doesn't talk about the money, right? Like, this probably cost her at least a couple $100 minimum, right? At least I'm probably guessing probably somewhere between $400 to $800 just to do this. Like, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, Bethany contacted them, and Bethany's like, where can I drop them off? And they never said shit. So at that point, Bethany could have stolen it. But no. Because you know what, chat? You know what?
No, actually, by the way, let me just be very clear. This actually isn't theft. So if they never direct you or provide directions on how to do something, right, and you're standing there like pending their direction, that's actually abandonment. They're considered to have abandoned their property and abandoned their claim, particularly if you've reached out to them and you've asked and they don't respond. They've abandoned that property and you are claiming that abandoned property, right? So they're releasing their claim to that and they're abandoning that property if they're just leaving it there and not responding. It's the same thing if like you own an apartment and somebody leaves behind their clothes in that apartment and they just leave and they don't come back. Well, then eventually you're going to be the owner of those clothes, right? Legally, it's abandoned property. So at a certain point, she could just keep it. So yeah, by the way, I love this. Legal Mindset, your live stream is getting more than most of ETH. Big fucking oof. Let's continue.
Bethany has a very strong honor code. So Bethany held on to that, flew all the way to where the their job is, which is like
Tokyo.
an 8-hour flight.
So she's talking about the distance between Tokyo and Indonesia. The distance between Tokyo and Indonesia is 8 hours. I know it's very, I'm about to get on a 6-hour flight and it's 2 hours. Indonesia is 2 hours away from here. So she's clearly talking about flying from Indonesia there. Now, let's say she flew a reasonable airline. For example, I'll just use my ticket, right? I'm flying into Nagoya, right? And then out of Osaka. You know, I think this time my ticket was around $300 or $400 because I booked last minute. But remember, she's bringing equipment. Now, I don't know how much she's bringing. And let's say she has to pack an extra bag or she has to pay for a bag. She could be paying, you know, $400, $500, you know, all inclusive. And then on top of that, she's got to get a hotel she hasn't paid, where she's staying, you know, she's eating food. She has expenses. Tokyo is a lot more expensive than Indonesia. So she could have been out like, who knows, $800, and it's possible just to return this equipment. And did Nichi Sanji pay her back for that? Nope. Indonesia to Osaka, about 50,000 yen. Yeah, I mean, there are low-cost carriers, but once again, Nichi Sanji didn't pay that money back. Just keep that in mind.
And returned it personally. Like no one was like, okay, Bethany, send it over here. And no, Bethany did that. Even though Bethany could have just stolen that thing, she could have kept it to herself. No, Bethany brought it with her, gave it back personally to the person that deserves to have this item. Because that's the kind of person Bethany is. Very big honor code. So the fact that someone assumed that Bethany would sink so low to steal something really hurt Bethany's ego. Okay? If it came from someone that Bethany didn't know, perhaps it just might be a distasteful joke. But this person knew Bethany. Bethany knew this person, and that's what hurt the most. What hurt wasn't the fact that, like, what hurt Bethany wasn't the fact that it's like, oh, they made it's their job, you know, they had to do this. No, what hurt was the fact that they assumed it, even though they clearly knew Bethany would never do that. Because if Bethany was the type of person to screw people over, oh, Bethany definitely could have. Bethany definitely could have done something. Bethany definitely.
You know what? I love her mind right now, because you know what she's thinking? She's like, I could have done something. And in her mind, I know she's not saying it, but I know what she's thinking. I know Bethany is thinking, I should have done something, right? She's not saying it, but I know what she's thinking, girl. I know. It's okay. Hey, it's between me, you, and the 1,300 people watching right now that are smashing the like button because they love this content, right? It's our secret. It's our little secret. We're not going to tell anybody, but like, kind of should have. you kind of should have. Bethany was too good for that shit. Roster says BYN10. She's talking about Von Darkholm Dungeon Master, 100%. Hello, Iceling says, thank you for your excellent coverage and HBD. Thank you so much for happy birthday wishes. And I'm happy to cover this stuff, guys. The in-group and out-group preferences, if you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. Indeed. Summerlet, thank you for the 5 Legal Mindset memberships. Super based. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and for dropping those memberships. It really, really helps. Thank you. Charlie Spur said she literally said the orders came from the top. Yeah, no, Riku, right? I'll say it because I'm not afraid of that little motherfucker. Riku, right? Come at me, bro. Come at me. I'm going to drive that McLaren right into the ocean in Minecraft, in a dream of my cousin Bethany. Darja for 5 says, oh yes, Niji, that girl did a donathon to help orphan kids while she was in debt because you screwed her on taxes. Very smart. Yeah, that was so fucked up. Charlie else said she was holding a Niji ID on her shoulders. Exactly. Also, Nekomiya TH says, for 5 says, I'll buy you a boat noodle. Thank you. I was at Tongsmith, which is a boat noodle, pretty well-known boat noodle restaurant. They're a chain, right? But I was actually there yesterday. Right, quite good. I prefer the boat noodles actually without the soup, and I get them like a almost highest level of spicy, like one below the highest level of spicy. But yes, I do quite enjoy the boat noodles. I get them with the kind of original rice noodles. Hypnotic Enrapture says, happy birthday. Non-Japanese Niji lawsuits are laughable. I hope they're dumb enough to draw the attention of any country, employment agency, or the IRS. That's why I keep talking about this, because we may get regulatory bodies to crack down on these sorts of lawsuits and these sorts of companies operating in foreign jurisdictions because of the misfeasance, because of the malfeasance. Let's continue.
He could have screwed shit up. Because here's the thing, chat, right? In my hypothetical story for children part, volume 6, page 12, in my children's story, let me just flip through this. Flip. Bethany remarks, the shit you see online, right? That's just one side of the story. What Bethany experienced was a whole completely different story. A whole DLC, I dare say. And if this DLC ever came to light, yeah, you're lucky Bethany has an honor code. You're lucky.
Michi, once again,
that's pretty spicy there. So what I'm hearing is like, you know, if she was wanting to talk about it, we could get that DLC, that spicy DLC. I'm ready for it. And that is indeed, for a children's story, that is indeed pretty dark. But here we see her talking about her cut. This is the last segment we're going to talk about here, which is the cut from Bishoujo.
So this company of yours, yes? How do they make money? And I'm like, oh, it's stated right here. They take a cut from our like this part. Like they don't even take a I don't know if I can say this, but I'll say this. Like every money you give me, chat, every money, every sub, it's completely 100% mine. I was so shocked. Like I get to keep everything. They get to keep, like, in my opinion, Vishojo doesn't take enough. Like they take, yeah, it's just merch and sponsors and only like a small amount. Like it's not like we're gonna.
That's actually pretty freaking amazing. That they don't take any super chat revenue, they don't take any member revenue, they just take merch revenue and sponsor revenue. That's pretty damn good in an operational model. Now, they have a different model than Cover, and they provide a different level of support, but very, very interesting. You know, once again,
taking 99% of your sponsors and merch cuts. No, like they take nothing. And
why did she hold on? Let's go back there for a second. What percentage did she just say? So hold on, let's rewind here. She just said a very specific percentage. Let's rewind that.
A small amount. Like it's not like we're gonna be taking 99% of your sponsors and merch cuts.
Why did she say that number? Riku? The 2%, huh? That 2%? She got so used to that 2%. Not even 2, it's 1%. Got so used to that scraps from the table of Niji-sanji that she was conditioned to think that was normal. That's so fucked. So fucked.
No, like they take nothing. And this might sound like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. This is the first time a company has treated me like I'm a valuable person, like I'm a valuable asset.
The first time she's treated like a human by a company. I mean, that's just, once again, this is crazy stuff. And look, it's not coming from one source. The thing about this is stuff we are seeing. I've covered this for now since February, right? So that's 5 months of me covering, almost 6 months of me covering VTuber issues, right? This is coming from multiple people. This is not just one single source. If it was a single source, I might think, oh yeah, no, this person is just biased. No, it's coming from multiple people, multiple places, multiple sources are coming back and reinforcing this message. And it's just messed up.
First time I really felt like, oh, they want me here. Like they really want me here. My first ever time getting merch was when I debuted in VShojo. My first ever time getting my sponsor was when I work in VShojo. So is it because I only stream for, oh, but Michi, you've only been streaming for 4 months. Well, in my dream, I was stuck in that dream for like practically almost 3 years.
All right. Now that part could get her in some trouble. So she laughed there, but that part is like a dead giveaway that it was Niji-sanji. Because she's like, oh, about 3 years, right? It doesn't take Blue's Clues, Inspector Gadget over here, like Dora the Explorer, to figure out, oh no, ¿dónde está el 3 años? Right? Like it's a specific number you could just trace back and link to it. So that's where, if I'm being honest, like, and once again, I'm not like wishing this. I'm just saying, like, if they wanted to pursue a defamation case, they would just say, okay, yeah, clearly this is us. Right? Because it couldn't be anybody else factually, right? And yes, the whole inference is a given. Everybody knows, right? And that's what they would argue. They would say, oh, because it's so obvious, it could only be us, right? Now, whether or not they would win on that is up in the air. In fact, I highly doubt, by the way, that an Indonesian court is going to take really kindly to a bunch of Japanese showing up and trying to crush a person who's now left and now working on their own for a different company. Right? I highly doubt Indonesian courts are going to look at that favorably. I really do. But for them to even try want to try, the fact that they want to come out and crush people in overseas courts is concerning. It's genuinely concerning. So obviously, I'm keeping my eye on this. Let me get through all these super chats. I got 9 of them, and then we're going to move on to Sayu. Let's see here. Her community being called scambers is great because Mika used to call being a member a scam because she really did any member content. So if you're a member for 5 months, she said you got scammed for 5 months. I love it. I love it. Arrow Boy says 1% from merch plus 1% from sponsors equals 2%. Oh my God. That's fucked. It's so fucked. That's so bad. Devi said, don't forget any activities or agreements to contract changes. So it's not just sign it now. You have signed it by continuing according to them. Yes, yes, yes. So they can change your pay at any time by you just continuing to do your job. And you've agreed to a pay change. Oshino said that they call themselves AnyColor because they'll all be indie by the time they're done. Oh, oof. Charlie says, dang, I hope Bethany is doing better now. I know. Seems like she's doing well. Seems like she's doing well. She's having fun. She's enjoying herself. She's feeling loved and supported like she should feel in a corporate setting. Let's see here. Niji Susbichi, gun run backs her up, but Mouse gets pissed. This equals the end of AnyColor. Yes. Yes. Shiro Kitsune, happy birthday. Hope you have a good one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Once again, my birthday is in a couple days, but I'm doing my stream now because I'm going to Japan for my birthday. So I will probably not be streaming on my birthday. If I do, it'll be a really impromptu, like hand cam sort of situation, which may or may not happen. So I just want to make sure I do that ahead of time. I'm looking forward to enjoying Japan. It's really like my second home. I really love visiting, so I'm really looking forward to that and seeing my friends and hanging out. Philip Screwdriver said, Andrew, search Miko motherfucker. Do you speak it now? Perfect to add into the meme collection. I think I have that one pulled up. Hold on. Sakura Miko, because Miko motherfucker, do you speak it? Let's play this one real quick.
What does Marcellus Wallace look like? What? What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? What?
English, motherfucker. Do you speak English?
Yes. Then you know what I'm saying. Yes. Describe what Marcellus Wallace looks like. What? Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more goddamn time.
What?
So good.
Does he look like a fish?
Wow. Wow.
Now that, my friends, is content. That, my friends, is content. Forum Genesis says, even if Corpo knew the X-Town was talking about them, would they really be stupid enough to go after them while risking their reputation? I mean, at this point, though, can you really write AnyColor off? I mean, they're doing really stupid shit. So I don't put any idiocy below them or behind them. Einhanda said, I can't help but find it ironic that Nietzsche has no empathy for others, but they beg for sympathy when they get caught red-handed. Exactly. And what do they need to rebuild from? They haven't actually acknowledged what they need to rebuild from because they acknowledge doing no wrong. According to the black screen message, according to Rico, they really didn't do anything wrong other than they were embarrassed. Stephen Powell said, minor fact check, Mika did have one merch drop. It was art drawn by her chat mascot. One of the items says, I want to quit, but I need money. Oh, crazy. Crazy. All right. So let's get into Sayu here for a second. So this is another one that I brought up. Speaking of corpos and kind of a Baraka corporation. Some people were worried about Sayu because she was looking at a company, NOA, a Chinese corporation, NOA, which was, looking to recruit her, right? So here's a summary from the Kurosanji subreddit, and then we're going to play the video here real quick. And this is closing the door on her arc. So people were worried about her joining NOA. NOA is operating out of China, and its talent stream on Bilibili. And they're looking to expand into the English market, which is why they contacted established VTubers like Briada Cookiebox and Sayu, and why Sayu went to Shanghai. Sayu recently went to Shanghai. Now, off the bat, if you are dealing with a Chinese company, you're going to need to follow the Chinese rules, which means no Tibet, Taiwan, or Tiananmen, right? You cannot talk about any of the 3 Ts, right? Probably don't talk about Hong Kong. Probably don't talk about the Uyghurs. Probably don't talk about any of the social economic issues in China, right? Don't complain about any of that. Also, like, you're on Bilibili, so you need to be very, very careful about what you say, right? So she went there and she talked about, we're going to go to this point in the stream where she talks about meeting with the company, and her initial impression was good, but she noticed red flags such as lack of planning for foreign PR. What does that remind you of? Lack of planning for foreign PR. This reminds me entirely of Niji Sanji, just the communist version. This is literally the communist version of Niji Sanji. And by the way, the Chinese also own and the Chinese companies also own a significant portion of Niji Sanji. So it wouldn't be far off to say that you know, it's one and the same, akin to Niji, right? So no giving a shit or even planning for foreign PR. Due to these red flags, she decided not to partner with them for various reasons she mentions on streams. She still does want to join a company, though, and gave some insight into what she's looking for when she finally joins a company. It's kind of bittersweet, but it's the right decision and a good experience overall. I'm glad she had fun in Shanghai. It seems like she had fun there, right? Shanghai's a fun city, you know, so good for her. Let's go to the point in the video where she talks about it real quick. We'll play that for a minute or two here. Here we go.
So that's what I was told. And then one of the things I didn't like was that it's very different the way that...
Yes, right here. This is very true. Thank you, professional gentlemen. Context. Bilibili has been a financial supporter of AnyColor since before AnyColor went public. Yes, thank you. Thank you. This is a factual statement. Thank you.
These there handle problems compared to, like, you know, global, right? And I don't mind in terms of, like, it's not my problem. However, when it becomes my problem, then I kind of go, well, this is very hard to deal with because you guys do not understand how things are done globally.
Yeah, and okay, if they're like, for example, if they're like, oh, we do not give a shit about Twitter and YouTube, so you're on your own with those people, then why are you working with them? The whole point of working with a company is so they can interface with Western media. If they only give a shit about Bilibili, well, then they don't give a shit about the Western market. And that's the thing, right? Like, if like they're only trying to get you onto Bilibili, well, that's not trying to reach out to a Western market. That's trying to reach out to a Chinese market, which is fine, right? There's lots of money to be made on Bilibili. You can make a shit ton of money on Bilibili still. But if you're not prepared to deal with alternative forms of social media, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Right. And so the problem was that I was like, so I'm like working with this company and I'm like helping them out with some advice and things like that. And I do not mind that. But it's there were a lot of issues that were happening that I had no control over, obviously. So it was just frustrating to be like, okay, if I want to, like, I want to work with you guys, and I think you guys are great to work with. You guys have a lot of potential, obviously. But their experience basically meant nothing, right? Because they're used to their experience in like the Chinese market. They're very experienced. And they have, you know, a lot of great assets and resources, and they're very, you know, I think they're great to learn. They're quick to learn things, and they're very, you know, nice people.
But they're niched in the Chinese market, and that's fine. Let them be niched in the Chinese market. You're not the right person, right? Also, I see you guys looking at the untanned right boba. You know what? I'm gonna play the clip.
Disgusting.
We're trying to pay attention to the story here, guys. Come on.
But you know, the fact of like, at first they were like, oh yeah, we don't need a PR team, and then I was like, and then when basically things went very poorly because the market is navigated differently, then they learned they needed a PR team, and now I'm like, I don't want to say it's too late, because here's the thing, you know, everyone can make, you know, everyone, there's a lot of times where people can fix things and, you know, stuff can get better, but
If you have no fucking clue how the West works, then that's not a you can improve, right? This is really important point that she's making here. There's a difference between there's room for improvement and you have no fucking clue what you're doing. This is a situation where this company has no fucking clue what they're doing, right? Now, like with AnyColor, right? It's gotten to that point with AnyColor where they have no clue what they're doing, right? They have no clue what they're doing. And in this case, they're not even in the market, so they really don't have a clue, and they're looking for her to be the thing that gives them a clue, but that's like an extra job. She's got to be their like attaché for the entire West, and that's not a position you want to be in. It's a lot of work.
I'm very tired of starting at a negative.
Yep.
I'm very tired of that.
Yep.
So it's just, yeah, it's just very, very hard to be like.
No, Charlie, no. I will not give them a break for their deep, deep plot, but I will compliment them for being men of culture.
Man. So that's the thing that's frustrating for me is just like anytime I try to like put like faith or trust into things that are new or things that are different, it always ends up kind of rough. And so it's just very frustrating for me because I'm used to things going very poorly whenever I put my trust into something that, you know. So that was just very frustrating for me because I'm like seeing these things unfold and I'm like, I don't like seeing confidence where confidence isn't due. You know?
This is an important one. This is a really important one she's mentioning here. This is a super red flag because a lot of companies and a lot of people will be confident where confidence is not due. Are you guys familiar with the Dunning-Kruger kind of curve, right? I know that people may know that from Blade Runner, right? But it's really important. Let me pull up like the Dunning-Kruger curve here, right? Let's pull up this. Yes. Here we go. I think this is a good one. Let me see. Yes. Okay. This is perfect. So there's a big difference between being here and having mastered something. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? So you have enthusiasm, despair, enlightenment, forgetfulness, right? Obviously, when you retire, you forget. So you start on Mount Stupid, right? You start on Mount Stupid. You're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. You're here on Mount Stupid, right? And you're learning a new material, and it's hard. And when you do that, you are discouraged. You fall into the valley of despair. You don't know anything. You're literally like, this is blissful ignorance. You're blissfully ignorant. You don't know it, but then you learn, you push through, and you become enlightened and you master it, especially after 10,000 hours of doing something. And then you get to productivity, and then of course you do it, and then you can retire at a certain point, right? But you have to accept, right, what you do not know. And see, that's the part here. In the beginning, you have a good attitude. You have to accept you do not know, be humble, and then push through it. Right? But the problem is that these people are all on Mount Stupid. The Chinese company, Mount Stupid. They don't even know what they don't know. They think they can do it. Right? A lot of happy birthdays. Thank you. Wixword for 20 with a happy birthday. Thank you so much. Also, Leprechaun Gold at 20 says happy birthday. Find me in the club. Thank you. Appreciate that. Just a normal beach episode, chat. Yes, just a normal, wholesome beach episode. Undue confidence has a name. Arrogance, hubris. Yes. And these people have nothing. AnyColor has nothing but not hubris. right? Charlie Spur says if there's one thing Sayu's not, it's stupid. I agree. Air Zero says, Andrew, it's not normal for these kinds of corpo stories to engender blind raging in people. Yeah, you shouldn't be driven into a rage based on corporate behavior. It should be something that's like frustrating but not driving people into rage. That's true. Alyssa Saisek for VTube Network says, can't wait for Uncle Sam to see AnyColor's attempt to skirt U.S. law. Imagine being barred from business in the U.S. because of that. Yes. And imagine the other jurisdictions in other countries that are going to look at them as operating in a legal business in their country without a branch office. There's going to be a lot of other countries that are not going to take kindly to that, especially when they're trying to sue people in their countries. AnyColor may fuck themselves because they sue somebody in a country and it brings that light to politicians and they end up punishing AnyColor, the foreign company. Because you know what? If you were Korea or Japan, do you think they're going to look really, really favorably on somebody coming into Korea and Japan, a Japanese company coming to Korea and Japan trying to sue? No, it's a national sovereignty issue at a certain point, particularly when they're trying to enslave your citizens. Cody Bauer says, Japanese black companies can flat out cartoonish in their behavior. Just look at the big motor scandal. Yes, very bad. Happy 800 said non-engagement equals the only way to deal with corporates and CN. And Gunnar says, you don't start on Mount Stupid. You learn a lot at the beginning, but you think you know more than you do. It's like a rapid gains. That's true. That's true. The newbie gains, right? You think the newbie gains are going to stick with you forever, and they don't. They don't. You have to like push into that initially. So that's what I got for Sayu. I'm glad that she dodged that bullet. I do hope she finds a place. You know, she has been a good friend behind the scenes, right? We didn't talk about this topic before I covered it. I just wanted to cover it to my own, goodwill towards her, and also just that's a good topic to cover. But she's a smart girl. She's great. Shout out to all the hag maxing out there, doing I watch her Fire Emblem streams, absolutely love them. So shout out to her. I know she'll get where she's going to go. I know it's frustrating not to get it on the first try and to be frustrated, but I know she's going to get where she needs to go. And I do wish her the best, sincerely. And by the way, I wish the best for Michi as well, right? And I'm sure that she's going to be in a better place because she's moved forward from these things. Tharja for €5 says, let's say they sue someone that slanders them in Australia. If AnyColor loses, they would have to pay legal damages. It's the same in some states. So I'm not an Australian lawyer, but let me just speak to like the US, right? If they were to sue in the US and it was to be proven to be a frivolous suit, particularly if they sue under defamation and there's an anti-slap statute, they may be forced to pay. So AnyColor may be forced to pay money, and there could be a judgment out for AnyColor for their delinquent expenses. And I would love to have AnyColor merch in the US seized by customs from shops, etc., from distributors to pay for in restitution for a judgment. That would be absolutely great to see their products seized and sold off. That'd be great. It'd just be perfect. Anti-slap, by the way, slap and anti-slap. SLAP means strategic lawsuit against public participation. So that is a lawsuit that somebody uses to shut somebody else up. So for example, governments can sue individuals to try to shut them up and silence their right, especially their First Amendment right. In order to stop that, we enacted something called anti-slap statutes, which allow a special motion, which usually occurs before even a motion to dismiss, to completely get rid of this at a low cost. And if that is found to be a frivolous lawsuit, completely meritless, to actually shift the burden of the cost onto the person that filed that meritless lawsuit. It's actually great when there's a statute. They do vary state to state, though. Different states have different forms of anti-slap statutes. Some of them are stronger and some of them are weaker, right? And that is your legal education for the day. Did you guys enjoy this stream? Do you guys enjoy this topic, this type of content? Please smash that like button. This was an impromptu one. I just saw this topic, decided to cover it tonight. I didn't have like hours and hours and hours of research, but just looking into this, I knew that it needed to be covered, needed to be covered promptly. I hope a lot of people do good content on this. I know my clipper will break this up, but that's what I got for you guys today. By the way, Zalthar says, happy birthday, Andrew, 2004. And you are awesome. Yeah. And by the way, my birthday stream will start in 5 hours, 5 or 6 hours. I may get a little nap in, a little nappy nap. I already slept a little bit, but I may get a little nap in, and then we're going to be popping the sake, going through good clips. So if you've got a clip from my birthday, you want me to go through some fun stuff to review, send it to me. I've already got some stuff looking good. I've got some hentai over here on locals that people are sending me that I cannot show, but thank you for that. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. But yes, appreciate all you guys. Gunnar says, remember when my company was sued, the plaintiff was to post a surety to show they had enough money for the suit before they were allowed to sue. Might have to do that. We won the lawsuit. It's different in America. Oftentimes you do not have to, the plaintiff doesn't have to post a surety. But we do punish people for frivolous suits sometimes. Wildcade says, why can Niji fire someone on Twitter by listing a laundry list of crimes against the company and not consider that slander under Japanese law? Because they're big and they assume you won't fight back. They assume you won't fight back. Birthday at MK. I love MK. I go to MK quite often. In MK Gold. Very good. MK is great food. Shout out to all the great Thai food. I had some really good Penang curry and some pad kapow today. It was fucking fantastic. King Konda said, happy birthday, LM. Thank you. Thank you. And just look at Bayer. After they bought the company, it wasn't the U.S. anymore. U.S. turned on a 180 on Gynoplast. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for the birthday wishes. Seriously, guys, it is as much appreciated. I'm so glad I've been able to be on YouTube now for over 4 years with you guys. We've grown a lot. We've made a lot of friends. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Lydia there. We saw Mujin earlier, Rima. It's been awesome. Shout out to my mods, Professional Gentleman and Danielle. Absolutely awesome. Thank you guys for helping. Thank you guys for being here. And we will catch you on the next one. Let's leave you with
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Low,